I'm Jen Dunstan reporting for Cycle News, and this is the 2024 Aprilia RS 457. Now, this is a brand new motorcycle for the Italian brand from the ground up. Everything has been freshly designed. And why is Aprilia making the 457? It actually has a lot of different niches it needs to fill in the marketplace with this one bike. So when we look at the European market, there's a tiered licensing system that they have to worry about. So A1's kind of covered with the RS 125, and then all the way A3 and above has the RS 660, but there's kind of a gap there with the RS 457 filling that in the A2 segment. When we look at the Asian market, you know, there's a lot of smaller bikes, and now the 457 is going to be kind of like a really premium offering. Now for us in the United States, I think the 457 is really going to fit that need of an entry-level or a beginner bike. Now a lot of people are asking, why make the 457 when you have the 660? In my mind, I think the 660 is a much more appropriate second bike for US riders, and I think the 457 is a much needed entry-level bike from Aprilia. Now, the 457 is going to be a lot more approachable in price point, of course, but also in just its size. All right, so as you can see, this is a much smaller bike for the entry-level market. I'm 5'4". I normally fit bikes that have a 30-inch seat height pretty good. So you can see I'm just a little bit on my toes here, but I still have good reach. And also the bike's really narrow. So I feel pretty good in the cockpit of this motorcycle. And also it's super lightweight, so it's gonna be easy to push around or park. All right, so the 457 is using a parallel twin with a 270-degree crank. And it's putting out around 47 horsepower at 385 pounds. So Aprilia is definitely going after that power to weight ratio title when it comes to lightweight sport bikes. I think something that really stands out about the RS 457 is it feels like a premium offering in what's normally considered a budget price point segment. It's just beautifully designed. I think riders are immediately take to the attractiveness of the bodywork, the headlight styling. Something I really love is just the shape and the form of the swing arm and also the aluminum frame. So, you know, amongst its competitors in this beginner market, it is really a flashy and standout motorcycle. Of course, it's a budget motorcycle, so when we look at the components, there's not any fancy brand names happening here. But I gotta tell you, by riding this bike on track, this is a well-sorted machine in the chassis, suspension, and brakes. All right, some rider impressions. We were out here in Modena at the Autodrome riding of the 457. This is about a 1.4-mile track, and it is super tight and technical. It has a lot of late apexes, kind of double radius turns. So you really have to pay attention, but also on a bike like this, it's really where it's going to perform best. All right, so first of all, the chassis is just superb. This bike flicks into the corners. It is super easy to navigate. I had a lot of mid-corner corrections I had to make as I was learning this track, and the Aprilia RS 457 was really forgiving to that and can turn on a dime. Now, something to note about the RS 457, it does have a stiffer front suspension that you would normally see in this beginner bike segment. Now on track, that was a really good thing because you're bearing the brakes, you're trail braking, you want some of that toughness and feedback in the suspension. How it performs on the street though, it remains to be seen. All right, some things I noticed, for me, the brake lever feel was just a little vague in the beginning, so there's a little bit of a pull before you finally start to get that bite out of the brake. And then when you are really pulling out aggressive, it can start to feel a little mushy near the end there. So in some ways that's a good thing because you don't want to be stabby on this brake and get yourself in trouble. A lot of higher end premium motorcycles can really bite you if you're too ham-fisted on that brake. So for newer riders or riders getting adjusted to the Aprilia brand, it might be nice to have that softer feel in the front lever. Now when it comes to throttle performance, there's a lot of usable power out of the RS 457. I did find, and I do like this, there's just a little breath right when you crack on the throttle, so you're not gonna spin up or scare yourself. But then once this motor turns on, it just goes. And when you look at the curves from the dyno on the torque and also the horsepower, it is a very complimentary machine. So the RS 457 does have a lot of electronics that comes pre-baked into this motorcycle, and that's kind of rare for this budget and this market segment. So what you're getting with the 457, it has 3 different ride modes. It has rain mode, eco mode, and sport mode. And then also you have a lot of different toggles you could play with when it comes to traction control. You have 3 different settings, and also with your ABS braking, you have 2 different levels to work with on that. I would say what I like best about the RS 457 is that it is confidence inspiring. It's also so beautiful to look at. It is for sure a premium offering in a budget level segment. So for riders who are new to the Aprilia brand, this is finally something that they could get their hands on and be part of the Aprilia family. All right, so I'll just wrap it up with some final thoughts. This is a confidence-inspiring machine. I also think it's great to see this coming out in the beginner bike segment. A lot of riders want a beautiful made motorcycle that has a lot of high performance qualities to it, and that is what the RS 457 is delivering.